We are live. The SMT podcast. Let's call this the September 8th edition. Cue the music, DJ. What's up, Cha Cha?
Dude, terrible news today from just all around, man. The layoff situation. I mean, man, the topics tonight are pretty big, pretty impactful. Yeah, I want to go straight down the list, man. I'm not feeling good about any of this.
I got the AT&T story. We'll be talking about the I call it unfortunate news. We hate being the bearers of the bad news. I don't like being the messenger, but I think it's important that people know what AT&T was going to tell them when. You know, what store rep is going to tell you, don't buy this phone, don't buy that phone. I mean, it's going to be a coin flip. There might be some reps, Moose, that don't know. They're not
Well,
in
yeah,
tune with
100%.
so you guys look. I've told people this 100,000 times. I say it all the time. Like my videos, share my videos to the people in your life because they need to know these things. They're going to go into a store uninformed and make bad purchasing decisions. They're going to get plans that they don't need, plans that they don't want. They're going to get kind of okey doked, and they're going to get the old trickarooski from a sales rep who's doesn't really care about their best interest. Possibly, all these things are possible, but you got to like the video. You have to rate my videos, give them a thumbs up, and share them. That's what gets people access to these videos. Like yesterday, somebody told me in the comment after the podcast, I didn't get notified. That's because not enough people are liking the video. We literally have, Moose, at times 100 to 150 concurrent viewers, and I'll have 30 likes. How does that make sense?
Exactly. And the podcast overall has like over thousands of views, and very few likes.
I see some good people in the live chat right now. I really do. I see Fry Bread. I see Zero Cool, the homie. RFK Tech in the house. Big Term in the house. Alexis. Wesley, appreciate you guys for coming through, and thanks for being a part of the live chat there. Hashtag 2LiveCrew. You guys gotta like these videos. You gotta rate them for me. Engage with the videos. There's no other way for my content to get into the algorithm. It's going to need you to like and share. And the more you share, the more people get exposed to the content. They can find information that they enjoy, they can use, become more informed consumers, and make good purchasing decisions. You guys have family. Share this with them. You got friends. Share it with them. I've got a long form content podcast. I've got 2-minute videos. I've got 4-minute videos. I got 10-minute videos. I got it all. Share it with them. We just hit a huge milestone, Moose. We might as well celebrate it. 20,000 subscribers, Moose. What do you say, sir?
Wow. Man, I remember back in the day, man, years ago, when it was barely a couple thousand. This is amazing.
Yeah. Yep. Moose came into the community kind of laying low, became a Patreon supporter, and then became, just one of the biggest supporters on the platform, and being a part of the community and a part of the panel on the podcast. And I see a lot of the same people who have been here since the early days, man. I see Alexis here. RF Waves, a big part of the community. The Baby Yoda holding it down, all the live streams, right? It's been a great ride, man, and I've enjoyed it. It's a labor of love. I love creating the content, and so many good people made so many good relationships on this platform. The most important thing is that, like, people thank me for the information, the testing, so some of the things about the industry that we're able to uncover and kind of pull the wool from people's eyes. And they're thankful about that. And honestly, I'm a consumer just like you all. So I'd be doing this anyways. So I might as well share it and create a catalog of resources and a catalog of content that people can learn from. Again, be a more informed consumer. Make good purchasing decisions. Appreciate the first super chat of the night. We got one, Moose. The first one, buddy. This one from Kamikaze, the kid. He said, "Always smash that like button. Thanks for all you do, SMT. Appreciate you, man. Thank you very much." Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you to everybody who's congratulating me on the 20K. I don't know if you guys realize this. I don't know how much of it is actually me and how much of it is actually the community, right? Because you guys are consuming the content. You guys are the ones subscribing, so the milestone is really yours. You know, maybe I'm just like the vessel, but you guys are the community, so it's really your award or your achievement. You know, if I was to ever get some kind of like a play button, you know what I'm talking about, Moose? Those YouTube, like you hit certain milestones like 100K or whatever.
Oh man, that'd be dedicated to the SMT.
Yeah, I mean,
100%
it would be 100%.
to the
You know,
community. Yeah,
it's from the nation. It's the
that's
people,
right.
man. I've always said that. I mean, I say it in all my videos because it's facts. It's the truth.
Hmm.
You know, we discuss smartphone plans. We discuss devices. I mean, we discuss industry. You know, cover ups. I mean, going all the way back to the T-Mobile and Sprint merger coverage, and I mean, we spend hours on here, Moose, every week. I mean, I don't even do a weekly podcast, Moose. What are we doing these days? What's our rate?
It's like 4 times a week now.
Sometimes, man, it'd be a busy week, and we're out here. We're in these YouTube streets getting it in, bro. Hashtag live stream,
Yeah,
you know? And we like to do it live because we like to interact, right? You
that's
know?
right.
I mean, I love it, man. Believe you me, guys, I don't necessarily look at this as a job at all. You know, if it was a job, I would do it once, right? But I have no problem live streaming multiple times a week. I take care of my business. I got my regular job, but I got the people, man. I mean, Moose, who called the shot for tonight's show? Tell the people who called the shot. It wasn't me.
I was telling Sneed, we got to talk about this. There's
Yeah.
too much to talk about that we have to go live. We
Yeah.
have
And
to.
Moose literally said the people need to know these things. So we're here.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what we're doing. We got another we got another super chat from Kamikaze Kid. Congratulations on the 20K. Appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. Appreciate the support. Kamikaze Kid has always been one of my biggest supporters. Well, the Mike West is in the house. What up, buddy? Thanks for coming through, man. Yeah, man, it's awesome to be here and doing the show for you guys. TJ's in the house. All right, let's do this, man. All right, first story.
Yep.
I think this one is probably the most impactful for the day, Moose. What do you say? The one about
Yes.
AT&T? All
Yeah, we
right.
need to talk about this one.
Okay. So I'll set you guys up here.
Yeah.
And I think the title does a pretty good job of summing it up. This one is actually from cnet.com. All right, here we go. And it's titled, "No, AT&T won't let older phones tap into its full 5G network after all." Moose, how much of a backstory do we need to provide with this? Or do you think people kind of know the whole setup for C-band and N77 as
No,
a
I think we
channel?
need to talk about it like fully. Yeah, we need
Okay.
to do the
All right.
whole
So the
setup
background
here.
information is pretty simple. N77, 3700 megahertz, right? So the
Right.
N77 channel is a very important, it's a crucial, spectrum auction that happened about a year and a half ago. It was a pain to get it live, the FAA, we had all that, right? Then we had another auction come up, 3450, right? So we're talking about 3.4, 3.45, whatever, the lower C band. So you got upper C band, you got lower C band. Together, they create what's known as N77. Okay. The phones that can actually combine the frequencies in the same band. And by the way, we really do have to put some of the onus of this on the FCC.
Oh yes, 100%.
Like we could sit here and blame AT&T, and I think it's warranted, but no doubt the FCC is culpable here because the way that they banded this with the band number, right? The way that they did the C-band channel or whatever, it's wrong. You know, uh, in my estimation, they should have just made two different bands. And I don't know what they could have called it whatever they wanted. It made no difference, but they got these two frequencies within the same band, and that's weird. Right off the bat, that's weird. Because it created a problem that didn't have to exist. But it's no shock. They ruined 700 megahertz. They ruined 600 megahertz. They ruined 800 and 850. They ruined AWS. The only band they didn't really ruin was PCS, I guess. But like pretty much everything else is a wreck, dude. Right?
It's terrible.
Yeah, so like that they're culpable for this. Another mess, and it didn't have to be this way. It could have been prevented. Hey, thanks, Alexis. Appreciate that super chat. Keeping up the good work. The momentum is building. Absolutely. Thank you, man. Appreciate all you do to support us. And Alexis, a Patreon supporter who also joins us on the panel on those exclusive podcasts sometimes. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. The so framing that all together to kind of set it all up, we have phones that have been sold over the last couple of years, dating back to the iPhone 12 generation, also the iPhone 13 generation. AT&T just notified us like 2-3 weeks ago that those iPhones were going to be supported with the 3.45, the lower C-band, the DoD. They were going to be supported retroactively. They would get fitted with the FCC clearance to do that. So it's got to get what's the term I'm looking for? They got to be I don't know where they clear the band for the phone. I forget. It's slipping my mind. Certified.
Yeah.
So it was going to retroactively be certified. We felt confident about that. You know, the networking team declared it from AT&T, and now they're backtracking. Oh, and by the way, not only the iPhone 12 and 13 generations, but also the Samsung Galaxy S21 generations that we thought was going to be a go. None of them are a go. You're going to have to buy the newest generation iPhone, the 14 generation, and then I guess the S22 generation is covered. So the Fold 4, the Flip 4 as well. That's
and we
it.
don't even know if the Pixel 7 is going to support it.
Yeah, the Pixel 6, the 6 Pro, the 6A, they're not covered.
Right.
They're not going to have this. All right, we got some super chats, I guess. Oh, dang. This one is from Pete Fox. Thank you for the generosity, man. You guys are amazing. Thanks for the support. Appreciate that super chat, bud. Damn, man. So, you know what probably hurts the most, Moose? I'll be real with you, and I'll tell you why. The iPhone 13 not supporting it hurts the most, and I'm going to tell you why, Moose. People just bought these phones like a month ago, like 3 weeks ago, like 2 weeks ago. I know somebody that bought one 3 days ago. They commented on my video. They literally put commenting for my iPhone 13, which will never connect to DoD.
If you're within 14-day return period and you have an ability, right, to get the 14, return it as quickly as possible, the 13. I'm telling you.
You guys hear it from Moose first, folks.
I'm telling you now.
If you can get that return window, exercise that ability to do that.
Yeah. And I'll tell you straight up this too, Sneed. I was extremely disappointed about this, but your video was extremely spot on. And I think we should get into it. Just a brief summarization of how this thing went down. Okay. There's only two ways this news this morning could have happened. Okay. And Sneed already said this on a video earlier today. But pretty much it's either it's too expensive, right, to get certification for 3.45, or the X60 modem is not capable of doing the 3.45 on N77, which then we would be questioning Qualcomm, right? We'd be questioning Qualcomm if their chip has limitations on 3.45, right? Because somebody is the culprit here. I don't think it's Apple. I don't think it's Samsung. I think it's honestly Qualcomm. Go ahead.
Here's how you know it's not Apple or Samsung, because both Apple devices and Samsung devices are negatively impacted by this.
Right.
If it was one or the other, we would have some sort of a dichotomy, right? It'd be like, well, Apple made it happen, but Samsung didn't make it happen, or vice versa. Samsung made it happen, Apple didn't. Then you would say, okay, this is an OEM problem. Absolutely not an OEM related issue. The OEMs simply put in a modem into the hardware of the phone. And whether or not it has the actual cellular band capability, we have confirmed they both do. Why would they backtrack it? If it didn't have the hardware support, Moose, they wouldn't have said it 2 weeks ago. They backed away realizing they made a huge mistake and that they weren't gonna be able to do it for one of those 2 reasons. Not economically feasible, couldn't do it based on a simple business decision. I think that's all it is. I gotta lean that way, Moose. Because for them to say that they were gonna do it, dude, they said they were gonna support to the iPhone 12. They backtracked 2 years of phones. They said they were gonna do it. That tells me that the iPhone 12 supports the DoD. They just are choosing not to. And that's AT&T's decision. But here's the problem, Moose. AT&T is still selling iPhone 12s out of their stores right now. And they're selling iPhone 13s out of their stores right now. How does that make you feel?
Well, let me put myself in SMT's shoes right now. Okay. You have an iPhone 13 Pro.
I do.
Your market has both frequencies up on the cell site. 3.45 is pretty much ready to go, right? They're going to turn it on at any moment, right? And now we got this news that the latest and greatest of last generation is not going to be able to take advantage of it. So you are now forced to upgrade, not only because you want to test out the 3.45 and the aggregation, but if you don't upgrade, you're essentially missing out on a significant capacity layer. That's an addition to the N77 3.7.
So we're
So
talking about doubling your bandwidth.
Actually, when it's all said and done, you're going to be tripling your bandwidth. Once it goes 80 megahertz on the 3.7, right, plus the 40, oh man, easily 1.5 gigs, no problem.
Time to call a spade, Moose.
Yeah.
Verizon going all in on 3.7 and not bothering with the 3.45. Looking kind of smart right now, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, for
hanging
the
up the
time
one
being,
radio,
right?
hanging up the one antenna, not worrying about this, that, and the third. This is what my dad taught me a long time ago in business. You get what you need when you need it.
When you
and
need
you
it.
do the damn thing.
Here's the other thing that we also have to think about as well. Every single iPhone on T-Mobile will also not be able to take advantage of the 3.45.
This is facts.
That they also purchased. So T-Mobile and AT&T are in a predicament because T-Mobile is not going to sell that 3.45. They're not going to sell it. They're going to keep it. They're probably going to sell their ends.
In today, in like the today era, like right now, nobody's talking about C-band, whether it's DoD or the upper C-band. Nobody's really talking about it for T-Mobile because their sole focus right now is 5G UC in the form of N41.
Right.
So everybody's going to look past that. They're not going to remember that. But clearly, they purchased quite a bit of that spectrum, and it's going to be a supplement to their 5G UC.
That's right.
And it's going to be the same problem. Everybody who bought an iPhone 12 or an iPhone 13 is SOL. Straight up. And the T-Mobile user base also has a lot of Samsung Galaxy users, the S21 generation not included, right? Not getting access. And Moose, people paid money for these phones, homie. iPhone 12, they're stuck for 3 years. What if they just bought the iPhone 12 last year? They got 2 more years, and they're still not going to have access for this 40 megahertz. Moose, it's going to be a big time capacity boost, man. 90% of the cell tower upgrades I've been monitoring that have gotten the C-band upgrades also got DoD. The only ones that don't have it yet are the first ones. But I spoke to the tower crews, and they said they're coming back to hang the 3.4 antennas. So you're going to have all these amazing upgrades, backhaul upgrades, radios, antennas, and you're going to be missing a pretty major segment of the network. And Moose,
Yep.
what if 3.45 ends up better than 3.7 in terms of functionality, propagation, indoor use? What if the signal's stronger? What if it's cleaner? I don't know.
You know, we can take advantage of the fact that we know a little bit about physics. And 3.7 versus 3.4. 3.4 is lower, you know, on the spectrum, which means that it can penetrate walls better than 3.7. Why? Because it is a lower frequency. Lower frequencies like band 71, which is 600 megahertz, can penetrate anything. Band 14, band 12, band 13 is 700 megahertz, right? Also can penetrate through anything. It's a very slow moving wave. So the lower you get to single 100 digits, right? The better. So that being said, 3.45 will propagate better than 3.7, but we are trying to figure out by how much now,
Well,
right?
the X factor is going to be the power, right? The rules that govern the frequency. We've got to see what the engineers are kind of permitted to do, right? So when the FCC puts out those rules and those guidelines, hey, here's your power levels, your wattage, all these things that happen on the radio level. We have to see. 3.7 to 3.45 in and of itself, it's not a huge difference. It is definitely lower, right? We know numbers, but it's really going to depend on power. See, the
Right.
thing about the 3.7 Moose is it's getting pushed just like low band gets pushed,
Oh yeah.
right? It's getting tons of wattage,
Yeah.
and they're using really, really good MIMO technology, massive MIMO on the antenna level, right? So I don't think it's going to be much of a concern in terms of the difference, but the power, if it's the same power as the 3.7, then yeah, I think you're right. It's going to be a little bit better. How does it make a difference in terms of like RSRP? What, by like your RSRP on 3.45 will be like minus 92, and on the 3700 it'll be like minus 93, minus 94 maybe. Because Moose, I've seen, no joke, AWS at my house from Verizon getting me like minus 88, and then C-band's getting me minus 92.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? So it's not that big of a deal. So I'm hopeful and optimistic that it won't be that big of a discrepancy, but who knows about like indoor propagation just from a
Right.
general standpoint. That could be the difference between you getting 10 uplink and 20 uplink.
And by the way, don't forget this, Cha-Cha. The Ericsson versus Nokia radio and antenna, it could also have a factor as well, right? And also, when we talk about power, we also have to um, talk about this. So there was an article on Light Reading this morning that Sambar on AT&T, right? He's the networking chief, right? He said that they're turning off or powering down C-band at night. This is a smart move in a couple ways, Sneed. A lot of times in certain areas of a city, you're just blasting the service for what, like less than 10 customers, so then they can just do speed tests all day so that they can rack up the ookla charts, right? This is actually pretty good, saving energy. I mean, that's the name of the game, right? I mean, carbon neutral by a certain period of time. But on the other hand, okay, is their algorithm good enough so that it powers on once the traffic starts picking up at 4 a.m., right? I mean, I have friends of mine that they start their day in Los Angeles at 4 o'clock in the morning driving to work. You know what I mean? So what, you're gonna have maybe 6 hours between 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. of savings, or you're just going to have like 2 or 3 or 4 hours of savings, right? From 12 to 4.
So
It's very interesting.
So I think the way they're looking at it is like this, Moose. They're probably not going to cut off mid-band radios at 10. It's probably going to be later, right? It's probably going to be during the maintenance windows, right? So we're probably talking about after midnight.
Mhm.
It's got to be a real low usage tower site. Like they've got to look at the traffic and say, well, literally we've got 5 gigs of usage over this 4-hour span on this tower site, right? But they also have to ensure they are giving the best effort to their customers. I don't want to run a speed test and see 5 megabits per second on a tower site that can do 300. Let me find out that happens, Moose. That happens and I'm taking my money elsewhere. You feel me?
Oh no, of course, but
So they
one
better
of the
do it
things,
intelligently is what I'm saying.
right.
I mean,
And by the way, they're
especially
not,
Moose,
yeah,
if I was a home internet customer doing fixed wireless access, this would be unacceptable. But that's why I think like AT&T is trying to pull this off is they don't have fixed wireless customers.
exactly.
Right?
And
Like they're not doing I should correct that. They have dedicated hardware and dedicated point-to-point solutions for that. They don't do it over their mobile network.
here's another thing that I also want to bring up to your attention, Chacha. Uh, AT&T doesn't need to have the C-band turned on at all times in certain areas of a neighborhood. However, definitely by an airport, right? Later this year, once it gets turned on, it's going to be on all the time. Busy, traffic areas, there's always busy traffic areas in certain freeways. It's going to be always turned on there. But in certain neighborhoods, I think that's the key, right? Certain neighborhoods, for example, where I live, there's 5 C-band sites around this area in a cluster. Do all of them need to be turned on? Probably not, because most people that live here have AT&T fiber or they have some type of Wi-Fi already, right? So it goes back to the conversation we had a couple of podcasts ago, where imagine a time just like how Comcast is doing, where all these providers, Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, are offloading more to Wi-Fi when you're home. I think that that's a huge benefit, not only from a networking point of view, because people are getting offloaded to the Wi-Fi, but the people that do need to stay on the network, right? They will have significantly faster speeds because you are now offloading people to Wi-Fi. But anyways, getting back on track. There's pros and cons to this one. I like
Yeah,
the
but Moose, I
environmental
mean,
savings. Go ahead.
we know how sensitive the economic thing is right now. Like when we look at the
Mhm.
climate, right? No pun intended. Everything is centered around how do we reduce the operational cost? Like they can try to spin this as environmentally friendly and stuff, like fine, that's cool. I
Mhm.
get it. Bottom line, Moose, this is a cost savings measure. I mean, according to the disclosure from AT&T, they said that over the last several years, they have had an electric bill of $1.6 billion. And even with the additional network traffic and people using their phones more and consuming more gigs of data, being on these radios and these antennas, they say that the bill hasn't changed. And that's because they've been able to manage their network like this. So they've been doing this. Not new. I think just a new disclosure, right? They're just telling us they're
Mhm.
doing it. But I was in the chat with the SMT Nation, and some of the individuals in there, like PA Tech, for example, he's like, dude, 12:10 a.m. I lose connection to midband every night. He's been able to identify this for a while. This
Mhm.
just vindicates him. This just gives him confirmation. So people have noticed this. I think it's just I mean, I can tell you guys right now, when I run a speed test, certain times of the night, like let's say I wake up, go get a glass of water, I run a speed test, I'm getting slower speeds than when I got during the day.
Mhm.
Because during the day, the mid-band radios were on, everything was, full speed ahead, pedal to the metal. and then they pull back. And I mean, does it matter that I only got 150 megabits at 4 in the morning, 3 in the morning? I guess it doesn't really matter. Now, to a fixed wireless user who is maybe trying to upload some files, could use the extra bandwidth, I'd be pissed. I don't want to pay money for a neutered experience on a home internet. If it's just mobile traffic, I don't think it's that big of a deal. What do you think, Moose?
It's interesting, right? Because I've also been noticing this here in the Dallas area, Sneed. When I do a speed test around 11 p.m., 12, there is no C-band. None. When I go to the cell site, line of sight to the cell site, no obstruction, no C-band. So they're really taking this to the next level. And you're absolutely right. Reducing the OpEx. That's huge, man. 1.6 billion in just electricity. Damn. It's a lot of money.
Well, I think the most amazing thing is that they've been able to keep that bill the same, right? Through all that's going on with network upgrades, the bill's the same. That's pretty impressive. Super chat from Not Jay. Rural New Hampshire gang. No mid-band here. Dang. The tech is heat sneed. It can be on demand. If traffic needs to go up, the radio will turn back on. Okay. All right. So as Zero Cool was saying, it was software defined. So I guess it's programmed to just turn on as needed. All right, man.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean,
So what do you do? Can you trick the tower? Can you just start pulling a bunch of freaking speed tests and just start taxing it and force it to turn on?
I think it's based off of how many users in that area.
Yeah, it's going to be like how many users on our sector. Boom, the radio turns on, right? Because doesn't the phone pings the tower site, it pings the sector, and then starts to, whatever processes happen on the software level.
This would be a great research experiment, but we would have to have like at least 50 phones to try it.
Oh, dude, I'd have to pull like 50 members of the SMT Nation, bro, right on one sector.
Exactly. Now,
I don't know if it would need 50, because you know what you would do?
Mm-hmm.
You'd obviously need like a dozen phones, but you would run like an Ookla, a Fast.com, and an NPerf all at the same time on every single one of those phones. I mean, you'd have to pull the hell out of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
They'd all have to be like 5G ultra-wideband devices or 5G plus devices. Like it would have to be on those mid-band channels for sure, right? Damn crazy, Moose, isn't it?
I know. I mean, I'm pretty well. See, the other thing that I was thinking is, if this is software defined, where it's like an programmable algorithm, right? That it's not just turn off by this time, turn on by this time. It's not like a timer. Then, if hypothetically there was like a concert, right? For example, the Bad Bunny concert. Perfect example. Bad Bunny concerts are wild right now in the summer.
The hell?
Dude. Yeah, Bad Bunny's the #1 artist in the world right now.
Dude, I ain't never heard of no Bad Bunny. What is that?
Oh no, trust me, dog. You have heard about this guy. I'm telling you. Like, you had to have heard these songs by now, bro. The stuff like this, for example. There we go.
I don't know, man.
There we go.
Dude, I'm from Ohio, bro. I don't know.
This is global, dog. Even the Palestinians are rocking, Bad Bunny, man. I'm telling you. But anyways, so let's say there's a concert, okay? And normally speaking, right, on a Tuesday night or Wednesday night or whatever, there's not that much traffic on that sector. So then they turn it off. But that specific Tuesday, Wednesday, we're talking insane amounts of traffic, right? People FaceTiming, uploading to Instagram, uploading to TikTok, uploading to Snapchat, having Facebook Lives, if people still do that, Jesus. But that sector will then be turned on for the C-band. But, Sneed, this is a big deal. Is that $1.6 billion in energy just for the C-band? Or is it for the entire cell grid, including C-RAN?
Damn.
We don't
I
know.
wonder. Well, aren't some of the CRAN starting to use like solar power and stuff like that,
Um,
or are they all just on the grid?
I
Since they got the
know.
power on the aerials anyway, in most instances.
Yeah, exactly. They do it on aerials, but I know that all carriers have done some type of climate initiative where they, plant trees.
Yeah,
Plus,
they did. Yeah, they like
yeah,
committed to like
yeah,
carbon neutral, whatever.
and not only carbon neutral, but they also have been using solar energy more than any other energy over the years, right?
Bro, I have
Uh,
seen like when I go to the tower sites when they do upgrades and some of the
mhm.
tower crews show me the gear. Bro, the amount of power needed to operate these freaking cell towers is absurd. Like
Yeah.
like solar ain't cutting it, bro. It's not efficient enough. The conversion just isn't there. I mean, to give you guys perspective, the best way to power a cell tower when you're off the grid is with a diesel generator or natural gas. Like doing it on batteries, you'll be done in less than a day. Right? Even with you remember the site, my home site, dude, you saw the batteries. It was like
Hmm.
freaking 80 of them. And from what I understand, that'll only last them a few hours,
Mm.
which is crazy because they got to run the air conditioning, Moose.
That's why, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like if it's the season where they got to control the temperatures, and the hotter it is, the harder the AC's got to work. And here we are in the summer months. I mean, heck, look at the West, bro. Is California still like in a heat advisory, bro?
Oh, dude, it's bad right now. Um, First of all,
I'm
there's a
sure there's
drought.
some radios failing, Moose, and overheating.
Oh, of course, of
Uh,
course. There's antennas failing all the time.
First of all, there's
There's one of the biggest things that people forget, right, is in operational expense, all the maintenance they have to do on these cell sites. Don't just, one stop shop and then forget about it for 5 years. You have to have contractors constantly maintenance them because of that uh, air conditioning situation in the summer, and in the wintertime, heaters, right? So lots of things there. But Sneed, let's go to the next one, because I know that we have, a lot of people still very upset about the T-Mobile layoffs. I mean, this is pretty big stuff here.
yeah, this one is pretty big, Moose. Let me go ahead and do a screen share, and then we can discuss the
Mhm.
topic. I went ahead and titled this podcast with kind of, with this in mind. I'll be perfectly honest with you guys. When this happened, obviously I was angry. I was saddened. There were a lot of good people who were paying the cost in these layoffs. It was what? Thousands of retail employees, thousands of engineers, entire teams of engineers, right? T-Mobile just filed this. In fact, some of the details are just starting now to emerge. Dated September 8th, that is today at the time of this live stream. T-Mobile US Incorporated has announced that its board of directors has authorized a stock repurchase program valued at $14 billion of the company's common stock through September 30th of next year. Do you think, Moose, that this all but confirms 100%
Mhm.
that those layoffs and all the layoffs that have been happening since 2020 or 2019 are due to preparing for this moment? A
Yes.
corporate initiative, things like share buybacks, things like this.
Yes.
What's your take, Moose? Talk to me, bro.
Oh man.
Because honestly, it's starting to look like people's jobs were slayed for this. Shareholders.
They really upset me on this one, man. Um, Keep in mind this.
Thanks for the super
Yeah.
chat real quick, Connor. Appreciate that very much. Oh, I don't know about cities strong arming carriers to get more money to turn on C-band or N41. Usually, all that stuff's in the permits. I think it works a little bit differently than that.
Mhm.
Go ahead, Moose.
Think about it like this, Chacha. Imagine, you are trying to free up additional free cash flow, right? Additional profits at the end of the month, at the end of the quarter. And then you get notified, right, as a consumer that, hey, we're going to be doing stock buyback, which means that your profits are going to be removing shares that are outstanding in the stock market, right? So effectively, what that means is that instead of investing those billions of dollars that they're going to be doing in stock buybacks, instead of it going to the network, instead of it going to putting debt away, right, reducing the debt, they are going to be increasing their stock price by reducing the amount of supply of stock they have. That's basically what a stock buyback is, right? You are buying out shares from people and reducing the total number of shares, right? By however many
And that
thousands or,
improves the ownership per investor.
and then your stock price per share is going to go way up because now your pool of stocks are significantly lower. The same thing with like Berkshire Hathaway, right? Berkshire has significantly uh, increased their stock. It's like $250,000 per one stock. And why is that the case? Is because the supply is so crazy, right? They have very few shares. So supply and demand. So anyways, I'm extremely disappointed in T-Mobile because instead of keeping those engineers but their job is still needed, by the way. They still need to do a lot of those things. And instead they just, shovel all those jobs to the people that are going to remain. So now their job became twice as hard, three times as hard because you're now adding more responsibilities. People are going to be continuously overworked. There's going to be continuing mental health problems like there were before the merger and during the merger and post merger. So it's never going to end. And by the way, don't think that these engineers are making like $250,000. Okay. These folks are working because they love the profession, they love helping people, but they're not getting compensated the way that Verizon and AT&T engineers are. I'm telling you right now, that's a fact. Verizon and AT&T engineers are well compensated and do not work as hard as T-Mobile engineers, and they're getting shafted. And the people that got laid off were doing more, you know, things, right? And by the way, they've always had low budgets to improve the network every single year. The main networks that are prioritized, by the way, are the big three,
New
in which
York,
are
LA,
New York,
Chicago, Miami.
exactly,
Yeah.
the big cities. And by the way, Seattle, which is their home base, that's not prioritized compared to San Francisco, LA, New York City.
Isn't Verizon the number one shareholder in market share in
In
Seattle?
Seattle, oh yeah, 100%.
That's
So
crazy.
So this is what I was saying is that I'm extremely disappointed. All this free cash flow, all this stock buyback could have been to keep those folks' jobs. Unbelievable.
I mean, the timing is impeccable. I've always said that these companies, I'd say more so, I think T-Mobile's in tune with their public perception. They always try to do the sandwich. Something
Mhm.
bad, follow it up with something good. Then follow it up with something bad, but follow it up with something good. Just because they know that everybody's watching, they got a target on their back because they talk the most, they're very loud. They make a lot of noise. They do a lot of advertising. They take shots at rivals. They put a target on their back. A lot of those things are self-inflicted. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
I
And
mean, this whole situation with
mm,
T-Mobile and the lawsuit with AT&T, that's self-inflicted, man. They did that.
do you believe that oh, actually, you know what? We should talk about this. We should talk about the lawsuit. Sneed, do you want to frame up the lawsuit really quick and then uh I want your opinion on that.
All right, so basically how I see the lawsuit is this. AT&T offers certain discounts on their services based on certain qualifications, right? They got the whole thing about like Florida, for example, and
Florida.
Florida's got the elderly,
God damn Florida, man.
Flor- Florida got they got the elderly population on lock, right? Everybody goes to retire
100%.
and all that, right?
100%.
So Verizon does the Florida discount for the senior citizen discount,
Right.
and AT&T does as well. But then AT&T has this like AARP discount where you can, it's not really age related, but a lot of the elderly know about it and use that discount, or senior citizens, however you want to look at it. I call them the wily veterans, all right? And like T-Mobile was basically doing like a marketing slandering campaign against AT&T. In and of itself, it's not really new, and that's not different. That's pretty typical of T-Mobile to take shots at their rivals or their competitors. But then AT&T is like, hold on a minute. We offer discounts. This is an untruthful claim. We're taking you to court. And they slapped him with a lawsuit, and it's going in front of a jury. And they have an argument because AT&T can produce proof that there are discounts available for these individuals.
Right.
So they got a leg to stand on, I suppose, but I don't know if the argument is going to be, well, that's AARP and that's not relative to age. I don't know how that. I don't know what lawyers are going to do. I don't know what the argument is. I don't know what the defense is. I don't really care. But it goes to show you that like T-Mobile's always willing to muck it up, make things messy, and talk a lot of smiggity and say whatever and do whatever. What's up, Teddy? Good to see you, man. Thanks for coming through tonight.
And also, Sneed, don't forget this, man. I was telling this to Tyrone too. Just because you and I that are not 50 years old, right? We can sign up for AARP.
Mm-hmm.
AARP does market to people over 50. Like that's their main bread and butter, right?
Mm-hmm.
On their commercials, they portray folks that are 50 plus. In their leaflets, right? The coupons and all that, again, 50 plus, right? They are catering to that demographic. So when T-Mobile says that there are no discounts, and by the way, I was also saying this could be the biggest win for consumers in the last 4 years. Okay, and let me tell you what I mean. This would force Verizon and AT&T to put their 55 plus plan nationwide, not just in specific states. That's the end game, in my opinion. And I've told you this, Sneed. I was mentioning
Huge,
this.
Moose. It would be huge,
This would be
man.
huge. This could go positive either way. If T-Mobile gets shot down and said you can't do the marketing, and then Verizon and AT&T in the same breath instantly trigger 55 plus nationwide. Oh damn! Now what? Now what? T-Mobile, you're gonna go even lower on 55 plus? Damn.
Yeah. I'd see that as a benefit. I mean, if they were to come down on AT&T and say, look, you, Verizon, you guys got this 55 plus thing in Florida, open that shit up. Take it to the other states. Take it to Tejas. Take it to Arizona. Take it to Ohio. Put it in Michigan. Put it in Minnesota, don't you know? Give it to every state. Hell, give it to Hawaii. Aloha. Here's a discount. I don't know, man. AT&T finally punching back. I mean, how many times are you going to get punched in the mouth, bro, and not going to fight back? Verizon, even with the whole T-Moan thing, I don't think that T-Moan is even like that.
It's not
great
even
of a
big deal.
slogan. It doesn't resonate. It doesn't shake anything up. But like at least they have a pulse. They're sick of getting punched in the mouth.
Yeah. They're sick and tired of being belittled by a company that's ran very juvenile. That's the culture, right? They thought that they could be this like, I don't even know if I should say T-Mobile is a startup company. They're not a startup company. They had Windstream, right? Wasn't that before T-Mobile, right? They had a cell phone carrier brand before T-Mobile, right? Before
Yeah.
Deutsche Telekom bought it, right? So I'm like, there was a pedigree since Windstream. So T-Mobile, in my opinion, now has absolutely zero. They're not new anymore. They're not the underdogs, but because they're second place, they need to be attacked the same way that Verizon's being attacked. And by the way, we need to talk about this. And I know that we're going to talk about this later in the show, but I am very disappointed about Verizon's promotions for tomorrow. Did you see that, Sneed?
I actually have some. I have some information on the promotions, and they look pretty good. I don't know if you know about them, Moose.
Yeah, about the $200 gift card.
Yeah, but that's irrelevant of any plan. Like you can have any plan and get that.
Okay, good.
That's
Because I
the
thought
that's the
that,
switcher Verizon gift card, which we'll talk about. But
yeah.
they're doing. I'm going to do a video on it, but they have a couple of really good promotions. I'll drop that tomorrow morning for you guys. I'll probably record it tonight right after the live stream. Just because I wanted to keep this show to 1 hour. So we're going to probably wrap it up here in like the next 10 minutes. But Moose, the promotions are actually good. Of course, Moose, nobody's beating AT&T's promotions. They are the promotional trendsetter.
Yep.
Nobody's going to beat AT&T on a switcher promo or, existing customer promotion.
Right.
The Magenta Max they do offer good promos, but they're still not as good because AT&T will let you trade in an old ass phone and get some big ass value. Right? Magenta Max
Right.
will get you a good promo, but you still have to kind of trade in like a newer-ish phone. Right? So where like AT&T you could trade in like probably like an iPhone 7 or 8 and get like big time value. You can't trade that same phone in at T-Mobile. They're going to say give us a 10 or newer.
And don't forget, right? You have to be on
Magenta
even on
Max.
both Verizon and on T-Mobile, right? You have to be on the best
Well,
plan
no,
for
for
the
for
promo.
Verizon, you could be on anything that's not the Welcome Unlimited.
Right. So basically, again, you have to be on a
You
more
could be on the
expensive
Star
plan.
plan.
Right.
You could be on the Star plan.
Right, but you won't get the full 800, right?
Yeah, I'm wondering what the promotions are. I have to look through them. I mean, I do have them now, but
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that it's full value as long as you're not on the Welcome.
Okay.
The like literally the Welcome has replaced the Start when it comes to promotions.
Okay.
Like you're excluded, right?
Right.
And
And by the
honestly,
way,
man,
yeah.
trading in your phones right now, guys, like after what we just learned about AT&T with the DoD stuff, you might as well just trade in your phone now.
Yeah.
Like if you have an iPhone 13 and they'll let you trade in and just start over from scratch, do it.
That wouldn't be a
Especially if
bad
you're starting to
decision,
see
too.
upgrades on these sites like here in the CLE, Moose.
That wouldn't be a bad decision if have like, for example, tomorrow, right? Millions and millions of people are going to be ordering this phone. Majority of them are going to be from like the iPhone 11 generation, right? Some people are going to be, most people are going to be from iPhone 11 generation. A lot of people are going to be from 12 generation, right? And, there's going to be some people even from iPhone 8. They're like,
Look,
wow, I can get, some monies for this useless phone,
Edgardo,
So,
look, I'm telling you right now, Edgardo, I have the promos. I can confirm the Start Unlimited qualifies. I'm telling you right now, it is only the Welcome Unlimited that is excluded. I'm telling you that right now. I don't know if your information is different or wrong or what, or maybe mine is wrong, but I'm looking at the promotion right now. And I'm going to do a video. I'll cover all the details. I got you. I'm just letting you know I'm looking at the promotion right now. And it doesn't look like it's incorrect. It looks like it's from the horse's mouth. The homie sent it, so I trust. Super chat from Chain, my dude. What do you say to Tim Cook's answer today regarding RCS support on iOS? You know what Tim Cook said today, Moose?
what did he say? Oh, tell him to
You
get
want to
an
get rid of
iPhone.
green bubbles? Get your mom an iPhone.
Get your mom an iPhone.
I'll tell you what, Tim Cook. How about I take your mom to Yard House? and we could talk about it. This guy, man, Tim Cook. Get the hell out of here.
Dude, Tim is aggressive, man. And
You know what's crazy, Moose? I
yeah.
don't use my iPhone for anything Apple related. I
Jeez.
don't use iCloud. I don't use any part of the Apple ecosystem. I don't use Apple services. I don't use Apple Music. I don't use Apple TV. I mean, we have Apple TV, like my wife uses it and stuff. I don't use any of it. So, like, I have iPhones just for the sake of testing because people told me, Sneed, you got to test iPhones. Everybody's got iPhones. So I responded. I bought iPhones for testing. I make content and I edit videos on iPhones sometimes, but I don't use Apple services, dog. So Tim Cook can he can eat some Zarg nuts, I guess. Tim Cook told everybody, get their mom an iPhone. Out of here, man. I'm telling you, dog. The start qualifies, man. And actually, Moose, I don't know what else you wanted to discuss as we're kind of like rounding out the end of the show. Is there anything specifically that we maybe missed or you wanted to include?
Well, something interesting that was on 9 to 5 Mac, and we should definitely say this. The Queen passed today. Very sad day across the world. One of the longest. Besides Steve Jobs, right? You would probably know who the Queen is, right? Because she's been there since all of our lives, pretty much. But Elon, going back to what Elon said, on 9 to 5 Mac, the headline reads, Elon Musk teases promising talks with Apple for iPhone 14 satellite tech and Starlink. So this guy, remember what we talked about, Sneed? Elon does not do something unless it's for his benefit, right? He never does anything for somebody else. He always does it in his benefit alone. Okay. That's why he's such a boss. Like he just goes in and is like, no, it's my way or the highway, right?
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with Twitter. I have a very strong feeling that after hearing a lot of folks, after listening to a lot of people, Elon and T-Mobile, I think T-Mobile was tipped off, right? Because all the top people know about what's potentially going to be in the new phone, right? Like Mike Sievert knew what's going to be in the iPhone, right? I have a very strong feeling that T-Mobile a year ago started having conversations with SpaceX, and they preemptively did this event so that people would start talking about satellites, right?
Moose,
Because
100%. If Apple with Global Star would have beat T-Mobile to the announcement, nobody would care what T-Mobile had to say.
Yep.
That announcement would have been null and void.
Yep. And that's why I feel very strong about this, that they tried to preempt the iPhone announcement because they knew that the iPhone announcement was going to be so big, so huge. And by the way, just like the eSIM announcement, right? And I still feel very strong about this one. The lady on the video was so casual, saying, you know what? All US models, no more physical SIM card. You effectively killed the SIM industry in the United States. In one move, Sneed, you killed it. No more plastic, no more excess amounts of gold, no more, paying for a welcome kit from T-Mobile. If T-Mobile still charges you, it's because they're charging you an activation fee. They're not going to charge you for a welcome kit, though. Okay? But this is big. They had two massive, game-changing, industry-changing moves, Sneed. And by the way, you better believe that Pixel, right, Google, and Samsung we're listening. Because now customers are going to demand that Google and Samsung also be on par with what Apple's giving.
Oh, and somebody was asking about N53 before we close out the show.
Yep.
This is a TDD spectrum. We're talking about an S-band frequency around 2400 megahertz. I think it's closer to the 2500 range. It's like 2480 to 2495 or something. Guys, this is like Wi-Fi. 2 to 4 gigahertz. I mean, what is this? Bands around 3 gigahertz. I don't know what this means for our phones. I mean, how well do you guys know S-band? I don't. It's like 5 or 10 megahertz blocks. It's not. This is going to be a low capacity connection, and I'm not really sure about the application. How does it get executed? I mean, I know it's on the iPhone, and I know that probably piques some people's interest, but I mean,
we know this. We know this, Sneed. Okay, these are the facts. We know that Apple has more money than SpaceX. They have way more money than Tesla, and they have way more money than everything that Elon can pull out of his stock. Okay. Apple has a massive war chest, and you better believe that if they do this, they're going to have already, by the way, invested billions of dollars in R&D, billions. Okay, to make sure that your phone is able to communicate via text to a satellite that's hundreds of miles up, right? Okay. T-Mobile doesn't have unlimited money. Okay. They're going to be hoping and praying that SpaceX actually pulls through on their end of the bargain. All T-Mobile was providing them was the spectrum necessary for the uplink, correct? That's all, right? So this is a big deal, man, because it could easily lead to a phone call. Once they perfect the text, it could lead to a phone call. Then it could lead to possibly video. You know, I doubt video because it's just too much bandwidth at a time, right, Sneed? But it could possibly a little bit of data, right? A little bit of data. And you know, the final note here on the N53. Again, the reason why the iPhone 13 and iPhone 13 generation and iPhone 12 generation, even though it looks exactly the same as the 14, the chipset was not designed for satellite communication. The antennas, the power were not designed for satellite communication. And again, we need to test this need. We need to test this. We need to go into the wilderness. We need to do something because obviously I don't want to call 911, right? But I want to be able to test how this thing gets connected and how much battery life it drains. That's another key that they didn't say, right? Would you be able to use this satellite feature if you have less than 10% battery? Probably not.
yeah,
You're
but
going to
if
be
you're
running out of
out there
battery.
in the elements like that, Moose, chances are your battery's low.
Exactly. Did you see the Apple Watch Ultra, what they said about the Ultra?
Yeah.
They said, we are coming out later this fall, so probably by October, November, the 0.1 update or the 0.2 update, whatever, right, of the iOS, Watch OS, that is going to enable up to 60 hours of battery life in an extreme situation that you need massive battery life, right? The iPhone, when it goes into low power mode, it underclocks the CPU, okay? Just like you can underclock a CPU to reduce the power consumption, you're going to underclock the A16 chip, the A15 chip, all these chips, so that they don't suck as much battery life, right?
Right.
But in an emergency situation, will it work? You know what I'm saying? Well, if you're on low power mode, will it work? You don't know. We don't know. We have to test.
We shall see, Moose. We covered a lot in today's show, Moose. Thank you for being
Indeed.
on, man.
Anytime.
Just answer Chaim's last minute buzzer beater. Samsung, Google, will they follow the satellite connection thing? Absolutely. We have proof of this. Android 14 is confirmed satellite connectivity support.
Boom.
That is facts. And with that, let's go ahead and hand it off to Ricky, RFK Tech USA, who's going to be doing his live stream. Big shout out to all those who are here in the live chat and everybody who's here to watch the live edition. Thanks to all of you, everybody who offered super chats. Here's a buzzer beater from Big Rubes. Great show, amigos. Why do you recommend for trading in for the iPhone 14, Apple or carriers? Some take me to this dynamic island. Nice, man. That notch
God.
thingy. Look, if you like the ability to just fluidly go to and fro from these carriers, then I say just do the trade in with Apple. You're not going to get as much money, but you're also not going to be locked to a carrier. It gives you freedom, and having an unlocked device. There are some perks to it that just give you that peace of mind to come and go as you please, and with it being eSIM only, unlocked may be the best answer to your problems, right? So,
and by the way, Sneed, how come no one talks about the iPhone upgrade program? We were missing the iPhone subscription plan, right, from the Wednesday's event. But guys, the community, if you want the phone every year, make sure that you get the iPhone upgrade program. So then you don't have to constantly be trading in a phone, paying off a phone. No. Just get the iPhone upgrade program. It's unlocked. You can have any carrier, any
maybe we'll discuss that in a future podcast, Moose, how it works and the benefits and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about it in the past before, Sneed, but I guess people need a refresher.
Maybe,
iPhone upgrade program.
Maybe we give it a time to shine on a show, give it its own thing,
That's right. Alrighty. Well, thank you.
Amazing. Thanks, Moose. Thanks to everybody who, got to partake in tonight's show, all the super chats, Big Rubes at the end, but also everybody else. Thanks to my Patreon supporters. Thanks to everybody that liked this video. Chaim with the dono, Big Rubes with the dono. I know we had a couple earlier too. Kamikaze, Connor, you guys are great. Thanks for your super chats. I know there were a couple more too. Not Jay had one. Appreciate you for that. All my mods, hashtag mod squad. I know, we had RF Waves. We had Zero Cool, given their expertise. I saw Pete in there for a little bit. Jay, I see you, bro. Chaim was there as well. Baby Yoda holding it down. A lot of people to name. Let me just go ahead and thank you all at once. So thank you guys so much for the support. Please do me a solid. People telling me that they don't get notifications when I do live streams and upload videos. You must do the channel a favor. Like the videos and then share them. That is the only way the algorithm is ever going to properly put this channel in a position to notify you guys when things go live, like live streams and podcasts, and send you notifications when videos drop. So hashtag like, hashtag share. That helps the channel in a big way. As much or more than any donations is your effort to support the channel in the algo. So thank you guys in advance for that. Appreciate all that you do. Hashtag replay crew, hashtag save the bear, hashtag mod squad, hashtag Ravioli gang. Moose, we're going to do this one for you. Hashtag bad bunny. Apparently that's a thing. And one last super chat from Paul. Appreciate you, man. $20 super chat. Thank you. There it is, yo. We out this piece. Peace.